Hey, this is Dandy Taylor with phase 4 of my term project for the Big Data course at the University of Bridgeport in summer of 2019. For this phase, this is the MapReduce part of phase 4. I'll be doing another video for the Spark phase of it here a little bit later today. So flipping over to our VM that we've got here, just do a little directory list. So this is the home directory for the training user. I've just added a new directory here called project. Inside of there I have two folders, one for data, one for good books. Good books is the name of my project. Again, to give you a quick synopsis of what this is, we're looking at data from Goodreads and going to analyze that data. Particularly, we're going to look at things like, in this section, we're going to look at things like aggregations around number of average ratings, or number of ratings per book, number of ratings per user, and average ratings per user. So the first thing we need to do is load up the data. We have here 5 CSV files that we have loaded into HDFS for books, book tags, ratings, tags, and to read. In this case, most of the data is going to be using the ratings file. So let's see what we have in HDFS right now. I'm putting all of that into a folder in HDFS called Good Books. So you can see I've actually loaded up all of these folders, or all these files, into HDFS. Let's actually remove one of them so I can show that how you put that back in there. So we're going to these are files, so we're going to remove the ratings folder file. Oh, I forgot to put the okay, so that deleted it. So again, if we do a listing of that directory, you'll see that the ratings book is gone, or ratings file is gone. So let's go ahead and put that up there. Okay, that's there. We should now have the ratings file is there. Alright, so that's how we look at it. We can also just cap the file. And so we have here, this is the file that we just loaded up. So in this particular case, it includes the user ID, the book ID, and the rating. Okay, so to look at the way that I've gone through and used HDFS or MapReduce to do this, I actually created a project here called Good Books. Under there I have the book review average, the user rating average, and the user review average. If we look at this, the review average, all these are the same. And so they're going to basically open up the job, set the class, the review average class for the job, get the input and output pass, have a mapper and a reducer, the review mapper and the reducer, and then set the output keys and run the job. So for the mapper in this particular case, where we're looking at book review average, we are going to take the line in. Here on line 17, we're going to convert it to a string. We're going to set up a new count variable. In this case, it's because we're just passing the value of 1 because we're counting the number of reviews per book, and then we'll reduce to the average. We're going to split the line on commas, and then we're going to write out the token 1, which happens to be the book ID, and then the count. And so at the end of this, what we'll end up with is for every line the book ID and the number 1 that will then reduce to get the average. You can see that here in the average reducer, where we're getting for every key the values. We're going to go through all the values and we're just going to add up all the counts, and then at the end we'll write the key back out and the count back out. So the other two are really similar. The only one that's different is the user review average. And the reason being that in that case we're not adding up individual counts of items, we're actually adding up the reviews and doing a average on the review averages. So let's open that up. In this case the mapper looks pretty much the same. Oh, sorry, user rating average is the one I want to look at. So in this particular case, again, we're doing that. We're splitting the string. We're getting the user ID, but then as we pass in from the mapper, we're actually passing in the review rating, and we're passing it in as a we're going to be treating it as a double when we pass it in, because the users rate this in a 1 to 5, which is an int, but when we do the when we actually do the average, it's going to be a double coming out. So so in this case, this is the reducer for that. It's going to get the user ID and the rating 1 through 5. We're setting up some variables, count and sum. You'll notice that sum is a double. Again, this is so that we get the right average. We work through the values. We add up all of the values into sum. We're also getting a count so that we have a denominator for our average calculation. And then down here we actually do that sum and get the average. And then we pass that average out. And so by the time this one's done, we'll have the user ID and then the actual average rating that they give. So if we move up to the good books directory source, you can see that I've already compiled this and created the jar files for this and everything else. So let's go ahead and clean up a little bit. Let's see here, we did good books. Let's run the user review average, or user rating average again. Average, so we're going to delete that directory real quick. Okay, and then we're going to run this. Let's do Hadoop jar. Okay, we're going to run user rating average. We're going to run the input is going to be good books ratings CSV, and the output is going to be good books user rating average. We're going to let that run. It's kicking off MapReduce. You can see that it's going to start mapping. Let's go ahead and open up here. Let's go ahead and open up Hue while we're doing that. And we'll go here to File Browser. Let's see Job Browser, see if it's still running. We can see that it's still running. Oh, I forgot to change the name on that. We're here on the file browser. If we go here to the root, we can see there's the good books directory. You can see the user rating average is being created. We're still in the map phase, so there we go, that just completed. If we go into user rating reviews, this is actually now the file that we generated. So the first column is the user ID and the second column is the average rating that they gave. And you can start seeing that there's a lot of 4. A lot of people are doing above 4 and 3s, not a lot of 2s. Again, this is based on data that is the top 10 books for a given year, and so you'd expect to have, or top 10,000 books for a given year. So you'd expect to have quite a lot of high reviews there. So the average is high. So that's the work I did for this portion of it. Again, I'll be doing another video later for the Spark portion of it, where we get more detailed on the kinds of calculations we're doing.